What's going on? What's going on? Yes, indeed. This is another episode of Not Right, Not Wrong, making opinions cool again. And as you can see, I am speaking, so therefore I am the host of this episode. I am just Ja, along with my comrades, my family right here. Queen,
Bam.
Queen, the Empress. What's happening, D1? What's happening?
Nice to see you. That's right. That's right. For those listening, please tune in to the video representation of the show to see what all the giggles are about.
Yeah. Inside
Great to see
jokes.
you.
Inside jokes, inside jokes. Scene one,
Absolutely.
Dark Mark, the Dark Mark, the Dark Mark.
The dark mark.
What's good,
I
kid?
like that. I like that. We should do that every time.
What's happening, soldier? What's happening with you?
I'm alive and well, man. As you would say, staying above water.
Yes, sir. You
You
already.
know,
Yeah, man. Dig
one
it.
day at a time, man. Despite all this madness and all that in this place we call Earth, I'm here in the presence of the both of you.
Of course, man. Feelings always mutual. Indeed. And speaking of madness, man, but before we get into that, we're gonna get a little political tonight. This is a hot topic all over the news, all over social media, all over other podcasts, and we here, the Not Right, Not Wrong crew, is gonna add our little 2 cents or 5 cents into the jar, into the money jar with regards to situations. So we're gonna get a little political tonight. But before we do, we'll shout out 92.6 The Spot. We are on live at 6 p.m. Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Shout out to our tribe, the 92.6 tribe. Shout out to everyone over there.
The crew.
The crew, the fam, everybody listening. And we are on right now. On
Right, John?
Right now. Right now, on there. Now we're going to get a little political this evening. Good people, for those who are listening and watching. Of course, you know, another war is bestowed upon us, and we're not talking about Ukraine. We're talking about this war in Israel. This has been a long-standing war that's been going on between Israel and the Palestinians. But this one is with a little twist. We have Hamas into the fray, causing a lot of death and destruction and injury. Innocent people are becoming casualties. There's some American citizens that were out there that ended up becoming casualties, and just another tragic thing that's happening in this world with this war. Our own Israel's leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, he's has a lot of people trapped, a lot of his own people trapped in Gaza, I believe. There's a lot of Israeli people, I don't know, it's Palestinian or Israeli people trapped in Gaza with our food, shelter, electricity, and they're pretty much prisoners in
No water.
No water, and they pretty much just imprisoned by their own leader, per se. This is just a travesty. A lot of people feel that he turned on them, and this whole political warfare is something that's not without familiarity. I mean, again, this has been a long-standing feud between them. I mean, just so for those of us who been following this for a long time, even since we were kids, we know there's always been the resistance of the Palestinians towards Israel because they feel that the Israelis took over their land and commandeered their land, and enslaved them, for lack of a better term, enslaved them and oppressed them. And so this has always been a long-standing fight between the Palestinians and Israelis, and then we have the subgroups that formed from that, the Hamas and the Zionists, who are very radical and perform duties and actions in terms of what they feel is their right, and they just go through great lengths to exercise their narrative by sacrificing lives and many innocent people and children. And so it's a tragedy all around. But the basis of it is what we like to try and understand. And so I would like to get you guys input and your feelings about it. If you have been following it somewhat, I mean, what's your take on this new war in Israel now, which is more or less like another round, because these two factions have been fighting for years. Even since we were children, they've been fighting. There's always something going on. And America has been a long-standing supporter of Israel, to the point that they always supply them with ammunition and funding, so that the Americans and Israelis have been a long-standing ally. So at this point, what is this about now? I definitely want to hear your insights on it. Brother Mark, have you been following it in some way, shape, or form? And if so, what's your take on it?
So I've been following it off and on. As you all know, as the both of you know, I do follow the news, watch the news, read about it, and share different things with you guys that I may come across on the news. So I've been aware of what's going on, and every day and often, and it's breaking news. It's on the news in the morning, it's on the news in the afternoon, it's on the news in the evening. Even while I'm working, breaking news, it comes up on my screen. And so despite the fact you may or may not want to follow it, you definitely going to know what's going on. And then, I'll watch ABC World News Tonight, and, the reporters are on the ground. When I say they are on the ground, they are on the ground, and they are there in Gaza. I mean, exactly as the bombs are dropping, they are there. The flak jackets, they have the helmets on. Clearly, it says press, but they are there on the ground to, report to us live exactly what it is that's happening. And I remember speaking to someone recently. I can't remember how recent this was. And I said that I always wanted to go to Israel because of the history, the spiritual history, the history of the religious history, the history of Israel and the Bible, and just Israel as a whole, and just get there and learn and read and go to the different places. What people, may say is spiritual, and just soak that up, as opposed to reading about it. It's nothing like being there and seeing it. And like you said, this has been going on since we were young. And you'll hear sometime it's a ceasefire. Whoever it is initiated, whether or not the Palestinians initiated or whether or not the Israelis initiated, sometimes you hear a ceasefire. And then you hear the news and say, wow, this ceasefire has been going on for 10 days, 11 days, it's been 13, it's been a month. But anything going back and forth, any rockets or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, people may let down their guard somewhat. And, there's some sense of calm there. But now, based on the attack that just happened recently, which was initiated by Hamas, there's no turning back from this. This, from all accounts and what they're saying right now, this is it. They want to wipe Hamas off the map. And if that in turn leads to them destroying Gaza entirely, that's what they plan to do. So they already got the tanks and everything ready. They've dropped the literature all through Gaza, telling people you need to evacuate. Now, how they're going to evacuate, I have no idea. It's mathematically impossible for every single one of those people that live in Gaza to evacuate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whatever side you on, you understand? Or even if you don't have to take sides, from a humanitarian standpoint, you know how many people is going to die just based on that alone. And this is just with the airstrikes, how many people have died already. Now, it's going to be a ground war. You understand? They got the tanks and everything at the border. They ready to go, and all they need is the word. So this is phase 2 of what they're going about to, just to annihilate Hamas in its entirety. So more people are going to die within that. And then at the same time, from what I've heard, they have over 150 hostages.
Yes.
So Hamas is telling no one to leave Gaza, to disregard whatever Israel is saying to evacuate. And then at the same time, they're saying, if you continue with the bombing, for every bomb, we're going to kill a hostage.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how you look at it, so Netanyahu said, we're going to wipe Hamas off the map. Hamas is saying, disregard that, stay in your homes. We're going to kill these hostages as they bomb. So no matter how you look at it, no matter how you do the math, a lot of people are going to die. And this is just going to continue on. So the end result will be that it will continue. Regardless of whether or not they wipe them off the map in Gaza, it's going to continue. It's not just going to be, oh, they did this to us, we're all annihilated. You know, they're definitely going to regroup. It's just going to continue on. And unfortunately, there's some people that don't have anything to do with this conflict that get caught in it. So I was watching it the other day. They was talking to this young girl, 13 years old. She was just so poised and just calm. Looked like she was in her bedroom or living room or something like that. And she said, there's nowhere for us to go. We don't have no water. We don't have no fuel. We don't have no heat. She said, all we're doing is just waiting to die. But just the calm and ease upon which she could just say that, as if her fate is sealed. She's just waiting, because you don't know where these strikes will come. The next one might be in her building, and it might be her, but just on how she looked and how she spoke, she seems like she is ready and she is okay with that, because that's where we are with it. Yeah, I mean, you know, my approach to any and everything in regards to war is always going to be from a humanitarian standpoint. I will never pick sides. I just won't, because there's too many people in this that's going to die. I mean, and there are people here that are leaving to go to Israel to fight. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. From what I understand, all the flights are canceled going to Israel. So I don't know how they're getting there, but it's definitely people ready to take up arms. And then the worst thing about that, sometimes what people will do here at home, now you may see an increase in hate crimes. You understand? They had something on the news today where this guy attacked a Sikh on a bus. You understand? So you're going to have to really learn and have some sort of knowledge base in regards to who's who, and not just assume everyone is Palestinian, or assume that everyone is a terrorist, or assume that everyone is Jewish, because that's going to lead you to do something that you can't come back from, just based on your level of ignorance.
And it's all a level, of ignorance, because they're the average citizen, especially the average American citizen, is misinformed. So
absolutely,
that level of ignorance and racial profiling will arise again, just like it did with the 9/11. There was a lot of racial profiling with a lot of people who are Islamic faith, brown people getting pulled over and harassed for no apparent reason, because the first thing the average American citizen thinks is terrorists. And so this thing So this racial profiling thing can arise again. A lot of hate crimes can arise again, potentially arise again, because I guess the super patriotic American citizen feels like he or she needs to do something since they can't pick up a gun and go to Israel and fight, or whatever convoluted reason that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But in reference to that young girl who's calm and just accepting her fate, that's that's I have to say that has to be her higher self, her spirit taking over, because for a young 12, 13-year-old girl to be so poised and mature, to have that type of mentality, that's definitely that's definitely a sign of her spirit, and that's a powerful spirit that she has. I mean, we all have powerful spirits, and then we all have powerful spirits. I mean, because we all come from the source. So there's that moment where the spirit takes over, and whether you're 13, 33, or 53, if it's it protects you and it keeps you calm. And I think, my personal opinion, I think that's what that young girl is experiencing right now. So she can be poised and calm and make those kind of
Mm-hmm.
statements. Not as a regular 13-year-old girl, but a higher power in the form of a 13-year-old girl. That's who was speaking through her. And
Definitely.
yeah, so it was real powerful. That was a real powerful story there. D1, what's your take on all this, sis? Have you been following? Have you been watching and seeing some of this stuff? What's your take on all? Even if you haven't, like, what's your take on all this stuff? Because the Israeli-Palestinian war has been long standing since we were kids. So what's your take on this latest brouhaha?
So, unlike C1, y'all know I don't watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
My my spirit, my constitution, told me to stop watching the news a few years ago. I was just like, I just can't. But the things that are pertinent in the world, they still get through. They still, there's so many other outlets for information to get to me. But I want to thank you both, because I feel like just listening to you both, you've connected some of the dots, some of the gaps. And I know there's plenty of gaps that I have, because I don't have this is not part of my lived experience. And I think part of the American experience is a sense of privilege, which means that we turn our head, or we close our eyes, or we only take in the information that is given to us, as opposed to doing the research to find out more. And I am kind of ashamed to say that I do have some of that American privilege, where I do turn my head sometimes where there are things that I just like, I can't take that in. What a privilege that I have to be able to say, I'm not going to watch it. Like, wow, that's nice, Tamika. That's nice that you can turn away. Unlike the story of this 13-year-old girl is powerful. She cannot turn away. And this Israeli-Palestinian war conflict has been going on forever. Like, we're all 5 decades in, and we're familiar with the language of it. So although I do agree with you, Ja, that I think our spirits are strong, our higher selves are strong, I wonder about what is really taking over for her. She's lived her entire life in some level of turmoil, in some level of conflict. She's probably been waiting to die for a long time. That shit is horrible to me. And if I understand correctly, the average age of the citizens of the Gaza Strip are like, the majority of the citizens are under the age of 21, from what I understand. I might be incorrect. Please correct me if I'm off base. But that means they've lived their entire lives in actual heavy conflict. And brothers, I don't even know what the conflict is about. What did it start over? Is this about land? I don't know. Are we fighting about land that is not actually ours? Are we fighting about land that doesn't belong to any human body? Because usually war is that it's land or it's religion. Seems to be the basis of almost every war that I've ever heard of. And as far as I know, every continent on this planet has engaged in some level of war. Every country. So what is happening and why the deaths, why the prisoners of war, why, like, what are we doing? And so just listening, like my spirit just listening to this is like disrupted. It is just so, and sitting, I feel helpless. Well, what am I supposed to do? And I can't imagine how the citizens on the Gaza Strip are feeling. Where you want us to go? Evacuate to where, with what, how? We're hungry, we're dehydrated, we're tired. When, go for what? Go where? Why even trust you when you tell me to evacuate? I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's some powerful things to say. I think the other thing, I can't even begin to imagine the immense feeling of betrayal the Israeli citizens have, being so entrapped in Gaza, where and their leader Netanyahu is not taking any type of strong action or precautionary action to ensure their safety. Is just this back and forth. He's just, it's almost like he's acquiescing and being complicit to the art of war, which includes the casualties of war. And what, and I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, what if, I mean, us as Americans, what if we were in that predicament and we're trapped in a particular place, and Biden doesn't take the full or necessary actions to ensure that his citizens are out of that war zone to a safe place, and even to ensure some type of reconciliation or some type of peace, to ensure that, you know, everything gets leveled out, or alleviate any type of tensions. And so it's definitely a tragic thing. I feel for those citizens that feel betrayed by their leader, because you know, that seems to be the case. And so I don't know what is gonna. I believe is gonna affect him. It's gonna leave a stain on his political career. And talking about Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu is gonna. I believe it'll create a big stain in his political career. You know, with this war in his homeland, no less. You know, in Israel. And so, and you know, people say it's not necessarily, it's not him. It's Hamas. And you get these Hamas, or if I'm not mistaken, they're super Zionists, and they're on a war for their own sense of placement and worth, and taking over this land. It's always a land thing. That's how wars always started. I remember when I first was informed about the Palestinian-Israeli war. The narrative was always the Palestinians who were oppressed fighting the Israelis, who the oppressors, who took over their land and carved them a little piece of the land, but then wanted to sanction that land that they're living in. So they're just in this whole sort of depression, and they always fought the Israelis. So the Israelis always looked like the big bully, and which caused the Palestinians to resent Americans, because Americans is always allies with the Israelis. So that relationship, you know, I haven't done much research on why that relationship is always so solidified and so concrete, where Israel can pretty much do wrong, can't do any wrong in America's eyes. No wrong whatsoever. You know what I mean? Because they've had this relationship for years, years and years and years. You know, even before Netanyahu was their president. It's been an ongoing thing. And yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu's been Israeli president for a long time though.
I mean, I feel like it's been my lifetime.
I don't think it was a lifetime. I think there was someone. It was someone before him, and then there was Netanyahu. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
It was someone before him. I can't remember who it was. So.
Yeah. But I mean, he's the more popular one that most of us Americans know about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all know that this has been going on since we were kids, literally. So we don't know we don't know the predecessor, but we know Benjamin Netanyahu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's always been the guy, and he's been the guy for a long time. But just this I'm sure this amount of betrayal that the citizens would feel, you know, I can only liken it to how he would feel we was in that type of predicament. If it was Joe Biden who just left us out there high and dry with no fuel, food, shelter, electricity, and the like, and we're getting this back and forth. You know, Hamas, to Mark's point, Hamas is saying, well, Hamas is actually saying, no, don't worry about it. But if you continue to bomb, we'll kill one of them. So
Per bomb.
Per bomb, yeah. It's like, oh, you want to bomb? Because I think that's the whole premise. They wanna bomb Hamas, but the citizens are but the citizens are there in the Gaza as well. So you're not even trying to discern or decipher. You're just like, Hamas is there, we're gonna bomb it, and if citizens are there, children are there, they get it. I'm sorry, they don't get it. It's casualties.
We warned you.
We warned you. We warned you to evacuate. To your point, D1, evacuate where? Meanwhile, Hamas is like, oh, and the other thing, until Hamas is out, we're not going to provide any type of perishables. We're not providing nothing to these citizens because Hamas is amongst you guys in there. So as opposed to making a discernment and ways and trying to detect who they are, they're like, we're just going to air it out. We're just going to bomb it all out. And Hamas is like, all right, y'all stay here. Per bomb, we'll take a life. So and then it's
yeah, it's complicated.
Oh my God, it's just
no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
From a logistic standpoint, from what I'm hearing on the news, and this is everything I'm getting from the news when I do watch it. So no one knows where the hostages are, which makes it extremely difficult to rescue them. So that point has been coming up a lot. Whoever they talk to, they spoke to the commander of the IDF, right? That's the equivalent of our military.
Yes.
Asked him, what is it that you're doing to try to rescue the hostages? You know, I can quote him verbatim, but to some extent, he's kind of saying that it's kind of difficult for us to try to get to them if we don't know where they are, but at the same time in there with this offensive, because we don't know where they are in Gaza. You understand? Now, keep in mind, Gaza is tightly packed. It's about the size of Philadelphia. It's a very small strip. If you look at Israel on the map, it's a very small strip of land. But it's a lot of people there. A lot of people. You understand? So right now they have UN peacekeepers that are trying to get people up and out of there. There are Americans there.
Yeah.
There's Americans that have already died. They keep
Yeah.
in count. I don't know if it's up to 29, 30, but it's gonna go up.
Yes.
So I know Biden knows what's going on. We have I think it's the Navy in the Mediterranean, so they on standby. So from how it looks, from a military standpoint, it would appear as if, you know, Hamas may be fighting with sticks and stones. You understand? Now, granted, they got guns and rockets and everything. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In comparison to what Israel has, in addition to having us right there in the Mediterranean on standby,
On standby, yeah.
there's no comparison to
Yeah.
what they are about to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? And no matter how long it takes, this offensive takes, once they go in, this ground offensive, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, whether they annihilate it completely, turn all the Gaza to dust, it's gone. You can sweep it up. You know it's not over.
Right.
No.
It's not the type of fight where you take a loss and go, you know what? Yeah, man, you got that. This is not that.
No.
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 Mm-mm.
And unfortunately, you understand, they know we're close allies. Now, you have to be vigilant in your travel because you never know what may go on here or who might do something here.
Yes.
Just because they want to be a martyr. You know what? I'm killing everybody. You just don't know. Now you got to be vigilant in your tribe. You got to watch things. Now, far be it from me to tell anyone to profile, but we all profile to some extent. It's innate, not necessarily, you know, live in fear, but we all profile. It's just innate. But now you have to be cautious in your travel and different things that you do because you don't know what's going to take place after this.
Right.
But it's never going to be over. It's just not.
I 100,000% agree. It is never going to be over. If there was a way for it to be over, it would have ended in one of these decades that we've, and like, it's just, there's no end in sight. And like, I'm thinking, like, to put it, like thinking of it as like New York City, right? And thinking of the 5 boroughs, to think, you know, the governor says, oh, there's Bloods on Staten Island and the Bloods are a threat, and we are gonna bomb Staten Island unless the Bloods turn themselves in. And all the residents of Staten Island, y'all can evacuate, and the residents are like, so we're gonna all jump on the ferry? Like, what are we about to do? We all
go to Jersey.
Like, what are we about to do? How are we going to get out here? Well, I don't know. We're not sending food over. We're not sending water over. But if y'all don't tell us where the Bloods are, we about to bomb you. Well, some residents of Staten Island are going to get out. If you bomb Staten Island, you bombing people's family and friends and loved ones. Those Staten Islanders, I'm sorry, Staten Island, no shade, but those Staten Islanders who got out, now they're going to want revenge. Yes. There's no way it ends.
Yep, that's right.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Great analogy.
It can't end. So no matter what days or whatever grace period they're saying they're giving them for them to evacuate, it's too many people there. And I don't know how they recognize who's in Hamas. I don't know. Because based on what I'm seeing in the videotapes and everything that they're showing from the massacre that was at the festival, it's not like they all have on uniforms or anything like that. It's not, you know, tight knit as far as their uniform. They're not easily recognizable. You would have to be in it to know who else is in it. So I don't know what it is that they can see once they're growing an offensive to know who's who. But it's definitely going to be house by floor, because from what I understand, there are a lot of tunnels that's built into Gaza. For obvious reasons, you want to be underground when certain things happen. They
Right.
don't know where these tunnels are. They're built under the city, and it connects the entire city of Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
So the hostages may be down there. The hostages may be up on our. We just don't know. It's just bad all the way around, no matter how you look at it. No matter how you look at it, it's just bad all the way around. So but from a religious standpoint, oddly enough, I'll bring up religion. From a religious standpoint, these are the things that they say or mention in the Bible will happen in the last days. We'll see these type of things and these type of wars, and it's going to become so so catastrophic, the likes of which the things we've never seen, and these things will continue to happen. So I don't know if this is leaning towards that, but this is what they say will happen in the last days.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, some of it is biblical. I mean, it's
the floods, the catastrophe, the war.
I mean, this was what was forecasted. This was a prophecy of sorts, and this is what we're seeing. There's been a lot of literature that's been written 20, 30, 40 years ago that's looking very prophetic now. Things that they've said, I've read a few books of my own. Things that has been written is happening now. So one can say, did they subconsciously project that, or did they predict that? I mean, one can argue which is which, because if you want to go in the presence of the power of the human consciousness or human mind collectively, you can go on that premise and say, well, we collectively projected that and put that forth for this to happen, or we did forecast. We collectively we were clairvoyant. That's why we wrote this literature, to express this or predict this. Either way, it's happened, and it's happening now. We're bearing witness. Last days, transitional days. I don't know how to. I don't know how you would determine it, but it's something that it's something that we're witnessing. It's a well, what I find interesting is that we all know that everything, any new system, any new hierarchy or government was formed after the aftermath of war. Even with this country, every province, establishment, government system forms because the victors won the war and formed their government and system, whatever the case may be. And if once you're in war, it never ends. That's why wars are always constantly ongoing. And this particular war has been ongoing for 50 plus years because people feel that they're entitled to land, and that they entitled to some land that they feel that it's a need for them and it's their right. And this whole thing about taking over somebody's land and making it theirs, and it's never the way to go. You may have it for extensive period of time, but it always circles back to both of your points. It always circles back because the survivors grow up to become the attackers because they hold the trauma, and that trauma manifests into anger, and it manifests into vengeance. So here we're going to have forthcoming wars because people are always going to want to get their lick back, especially when they witness something so tragic and they see people literally die in front of them, murdered in front of them. you know, and so war is never the answer.
Yeah. And
War,
it's not
Yeah,
just
and
they saw people die, it's that they saw their families and their loved ones die.
yeah,
And government, I don't I I'm hesitant to say all government, but I think you're right. I feel like all government comes, all government change, like turnover comes from some level of war and anarchy.
mm-hmm,
And there can't be good coming out of that because you're still traumatized. Like if you get out of a bad relationship, what do we tell each other now? Like maybe not before, but now it's like, oh, you need time, heal, you
mm,
know.
mm,
So how are
mm-hmm,
you going to come out of a war and start a
mm,
government that
mm,
I'm sorry, that's not healed. You
mm-hmm,
need a minute, you need a whole long minute.
you need a very long minute.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I just imagine you living somewhere and you constantly hearing air raid sirens.
mm-hmm,
This is your life.
mm-hmm,
It's no stability whatsoever. Now, from time to time, like I mentioned before, there may be a ceasefire that go on for some time. But
mm-hmm,
then once the ceasefire is over, like it is now, you hear an air raid sirens. So
mm-hmm,
from the time you hear the air raid siren, I believe you have somewhere between 7 to 9 minutes to get to shelter. And
mm-hmm,
this can happen anytime, morning, noon, or night, no matter where you are. Come on. And you may be young going through this, and depending upon what your parents tell you or how you raised to hate, because that's a learned behavior.
mm-hmm.
Hate is learned.
It is learned.
So it's learned. So you hearing these air raid sirens, that's traumatic. And the teachings of what your parents teach you who you supposed to hate. And then at the same time, you just seeing all this blood everywhere. Just death. The sights of which we probably have never seen. They're just seeing this everywhere.
Yeah,
You walking down the street, boom, seeing body parts all over the place. Like D1 said, just to be in a relationship and you get out of a relationship, whether it was a loving relationship and y'all broke up, whether it was a toxic relationship, you need time to heal. So imagine the type of healing you need from seeing that type of thing. If you survive it,
mm-hmm,
you understand. So now that's in the back of your mind. You need to avenge. You need to avenge something.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. That's right.
That man, that's gonna take a whole lot. I can't even begin to imagine. You understand? But from our standpoint, this is in regards to what D1 said. What is that? I mean, we could pray
Mm-hmm,
first and foremost. That we could definitely pray for everybody, just everybody that's caught in the middle of that
mm-hmm,
can't even get out, or the hostages, for all of them, because it's going to get a lot worse.
absolutely, it will. It will. And we can just at some point humanity collectively has to come out on the other side of this because we have the spirit, because we have the spirit of the creator in us. So at some point we have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and
Yeah,
come to the
and
real.
it's a
Go ahead.
a lot of protests going every day since it happened. There's been protests. In New York and Jersey and different places, there's been protests. Some small protests, some
Mm-hmm,
huge protests. They had a huge protest in Times Square. So
mm-hmm,
far, it's been civil for the most part. Maybe someone get arrested here and there that may be a little too boisterous or loud.
mm-hmm,
One of the protests that they had in Midtown, one of the guys punched this other guy, but it hasn't been anything to where they had to evacuate and clear everyone out. Just a few people here and there that may be, a little more belligerent than everyone else.
mm-hmm,
But that's for now. And these protests still going to go on. It's probably just going on right now. And I'm sure it'll be a protest tomorrow.
mm-hmm.
and you know, some people walk around with the Palestinian flag, some people walk around with an Israeli flag. It's
Mm,
a lot. It's a lot of tension, and you
well,
know that's going to spill over here.
if it
It's
happens,
only a matter of time. It's definitely going to spill over here.
yeah, yeah. Well, again, speaking of protesting, to even to D1's point, us still being a first world country or maybe a second world country at this point, but either way, we're still a top tier country where we don't have to worry. We take collectively we take for granted that we don't deal with that type of terrorism and oppression on a day-to-day basis. So we can choose and select to uh, not pay attention to what's going on or pay attention to what's going on. But either way, it's a choice for us. And for the people that protest, it's a choice. They may feel that they're doing the right thing, and they could be empathetic and have this humanistic side that takes over to them, and they want to use their energy to fight in their way without picking up guns and going out there to war or be part of the Peace Corps. But it's still a choice that, and they have the comfort like all of us to live in this country and have that kind of choice to pick up a pick up a pick up a flag or what do you call those? Those are my sense of words. A placard to
A
march.
picket sign?
Pick a
Oh, pick
yeah,
a sign.
pick a sign. Yeah, pick a sign. Thank you. Because that's that post trip.
Gas station.
You're like,
Gas.
words? What do I need words
Yeah,
for?
yeah. What do I need words?
Oh,
I just
that's
I can
deep.
I can talk in sounds.
This
Yeah, on a whole.
Ja is talking in colors right
you know,
now.
you know what
I'm
I'm
on
saying?
a I'm on a new level. I ain't mad
Thank you,
at you,
thank you.
man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
ain't mad at
picking signs. But the whole point of the matter is, it's a choice because you have the choice to decide. I want to do something. I feel so bad. I want to do something and pick up a picket sign and walk up and down the street. And then tomorrow you can be like, I don't feel like doing
Right.
it. As Americans, we have that choice. To D1's point, we take it for
Yeah.
granted. So yeah, and unfortunately, the people out there, they don't. Like you said, Mark, airstrikes every day. The whistling of planes, bombs, the
Mm,
anticipation of the anticipation of getting bombed, like a
mm.
13-year-old girl. They don't have that luxury like we do. So uh, prayers go out to everyone. Prayers go out to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so on that note, we's out of time. We done got a little political for y'all tonight. Yeah, we
A
figured
little
we gonna switch up
political.
because this is what Not Like
Yeah,
People is all about. We
yeah.
yeah,
It's
our
gonna come
topics.
up sometime.
Yes, it's gonna come up. Our topics are
Yeah,
fast. Our
yeah.
topics are fast. We different.
And
Can't
we different. And I think we were super duper respectful.
Of course.
We tried to be as respectful as possible. I ain't hear nobody taking no sides. We kind of just tried to swing around
Mm-hmm.
and look at it from some
Yes,
varied perspectives.
yes, the objective lens. Yes. Or is it
it's
subjective?
best.
No,
It's
objective.
best.
We looked at it
I'm
from
sure we're still gonna get canceled anyway.
someone's gonna feel away.
We done had a number of shows where we ain't even worried about that. I
Yeah,
mean, we ain't worried about it now.
nah, we not. We not. We
You
not.
know, we just got to be honest in regards to how we feel. I mean, we can't close
Yeah,
our eyes to it. It's
right.
still gonna go on whether we speak on it or not. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I like the perspectives and thoughts that we bring to it. Like you said, we don't pick sides. We just honor about it. It's
Exactly.
like they say on the news.
On
It's
the move.
a humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless of how it's a humanitarian crisis. Before you say that, just to touch a nerve in regards to how this is going, and
Mm.
you two may have heard about this. You heard about the incident in Chicago?
No. What happened?
Okay, so this guy's gonna be charged with a hate crime. I don't know how old he is, but he's elderly gentleman. I think he's in his 60s or early 70s. Apparently, he's the landlord of a house in Chicago. So I believe one of his tenants was Muslim. So he stabbed his son. The son was 6 years old. He stabbed him over 20 times, killed the son, and he stabbed the mom. The mom is still alive. I believe she will recover, but he stabbed the son over 20 times because they were Muslim. You see how this goes? It was a white guy.
Yep.
He got him. He's in jail. But you see the ignorance and Islam. From my research and what I read, Islam is a religion of peace.
Peace. Yep.
That's why I hate making sweeping generalizations. So from the longest time I've been on here, I'm always big on saying some. I never say all. You understand? I always like to say some. But clearly in his mind, he makes sweeping generalizations about someone being Muslim and what may or may not happen based on what he sees going on abroad. So he took matters into his own hand. See that? Hate crime. He's gonna die in jail. But what was the purpose of that? What was the end result of that? What's supposed to happen now that you've done that? 6 years old.
Yeah. I don't know if he thought he was gonna get a Medal of Honor. But yeah.
You see, but you're gonna be hearing about these things going on because people feel like, I gotta do something. I gotta do. Oh, right there. Let's go. There's some.
Yeah.
Gotta do something.
Yeah. It's a lot of ignorant patriots out here. Yep, I said it.
Yeah.
A lot of ignorant patriots.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But on that note.
Yeah, great topic, John.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, D1. Thank you, Doc Mark. South Bronx,
Sure.
Doc Mark.
You're ready. You're ready.
South Bronx, D1. Webster Ave. You already know. Soundview.
You see it. You see it. You see it.
92.6 the spot. This was not right, not wrong until next
92.6.
We catch you on the other side. Peace and love. And wars.